Alright, so I watched the first 2 original Jackass movies, so you don't have to. Actually, it's just because they were all available here on YouTube for free. And I'm tired of all these prank channels and streamers thinking they're doing original shit. So the first Jackass movie is just called Jackass the Movie. It features the full original cast. Wee Man, Bam, Steve-O, Pontius, Knoxville, Dave England, Ryan Dunn, Aaron McGahee, and Preston Lacey. The opening scenes of these movies were always very well done. And this one in particular starts with the guys riding down a hill in a grocery cart, until it's hit with explosions. The camera quality, the locations, the people, it certainly takes you to a moment in time where people weren't so uptight, or more uptight. I don't know, but it was better than now. Jackass is physical comedy at its best, and anybody that copied that has only continued to fail because there will only ever be one. And thankfully MTV took a shot on these guys because they changed the culture of young dudes. We all started skateboarding and testing our pain tolerance. At the point of the first film, Jackass as a TV series was already well established, so the movie just made sense for MTV. But it was a bit unorganized. It was like a mashup of stunts they filmed but never used in the television series. Stunts like the demolition derby with a rented vehicle, riding skateboards down a bowling alley, a muscle stimulator, and if you're here on YouTube, check out Houston Jones. He's a guy that definitely had to have been inspired by the Jackass days. Preston Lacey also sits on a parked bench, breaking it and also ripping his pants. There's also go-karts in a mini golf place, which is the iconic location of Knoxville's concussion after flipping over in a cart. Brandon DiCamillo, if that's how you say it, appears. Party boy in Japan, Wee Man attempts to break a board with his head. Tiny alligator bites Johnny's nipple. The fart mask, which is where Steve-O pukes after Preston farts into a hose attached to a fishbowl on his head. And then the closing bit, Ryan Dunn and the race car. There's also a closing montage of more stuff that was filmed and wasn't actually MTV quality. Essentially, the first film was all of the things you've seen IRL streamers get in trouble for. The Jackass guys invented that type of content. Unfortunately, all the wannabes are just making a mockery of it here on YouTube with these prank channels and other weird challenges. The Jackass guys were pioneers. I mean, every popular streamer / YouTuber just steals ideas from old MTV and VH1 shows. It seems to me even the most popular creator isn't even creative. Here I am doing a very recycled YouTube theme. I watched so you didn't have to. But either way, on to the next film, Jackass 2. Jackass 2, simply called Jackass Number 2, opens with the running of the bulls. Then we go to a puppet show, which is Chris Pontius versus a snake. If you know, you know. Then there's the Valentine, which is a heart that's taped to the wall, and everybody gets slapped with a boxing glove. Then there's a fire hose rodeo where Dave England breaks his ass. There's the Strongman, which features a dildo firing into Bam's. There's the introduction of Gloria, the mini loop, and the brand. If you don't know the brand, Ryan Dunn attempts to put a red-hot, dick-shaped iron thing onto Bam's ass, and he does, but a lot of times. There's also the lake jump, the fish hook, the electric stool. There's also Knoxville hit by a bull, which doesn't seem to be very uncommon. It happens in almost every movie. There's the introduction of Irving Zisman, aka Bad Grandpa. We are also introduced to Brandon Novak, which happened to be the first man that I ever saw with a tramp stamp. He sleds down Bam's parents' stairs in their home. There's also bees, shoved into a limo. 3-6 Mafia's Juicy J pays Dave England $200 to eat shit. 3 of the guys also get shot with ballistic weapons. Shout out again to Houston Jones. There's the medicine ball dodgeball in the dark, the Toro Totter, and then the final bit of terrorist Ian getting kidnapped at gunpoint with pubes on his face. And the final closing musical number with some very painful looking stunts. At this point, I know I'm giving some of you new ideas for pranks or challenges, but let's give credit where credit is due. The Jackass guys were revolutionary. What most viewers might fail to realize is a lot of these stunts took place with a crew of like 15 people watching. So every time you saw a penis or shit, chances are there are more people in the room than just the guys with the cameraman. Sometimes John Waters showed up, or Tony Hawk, or 3-6 Mafia was simply hanging out. Overall, number 2 was more of a film. It seemed to have more planned out stunts. The first one had a rawness, much like the TV series. But by film 2, they had realized the greater possibilities on top of a greater budget. Both movies ended up grossing roughly the same profit, but seeing the success of the first one, of course MTV had to sign a check for a second one. There was clearly more footage shot specifically for number 2, whereas the first movie seemed to have raw footage that they had taped and MTV just wouldn't air it. So hey, let's throw it into a movie. In the end, you can't go wrong with either film. To this day, it still makes me laugh. And that was the entire point. A franchise of films featuring your wildest friend trying to hurt himself for the sake of a laugh. That is always hilarious. But